Welcome to the SNN Network Summer Virtual Event. We are pleased to introduce the next presenter for today's event. It is Andrew Dahl, President and CEO of Zivo Bioscience, Inc., publicly traded company. The symbol is ZIVO on NASDAQ. Andrew, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, everyone. We're here to present a biotech agtech company, a very small agtech biotech company that attacks global health problems with a new disruptive approach that could very well displace over-reliance on antibiotics and antimicrobials in both humans and animals. These are problems that affect the safety and quality of the food you eat and the medicines you take. One example, the medications and chemicals in chicken feed. Why is that important? Well, they become part of the meat we eat, the eggs we consume, and they create drug-resistant bacteria. This is a multi-million-dollar vertical in its own right, and we are at the inflection point of value creation. Patents are filed. We're approaching multinational animal health companies, and we are looking to do a licensing deal in the short term. Human immune health products are an even larger market. On the agtech side of our business, we offer a patented proprietary algae bioproduct. It can be positioned as a superfood, a skin health product, a functional food ingredient. It's an all-natural, non-GMO, plant-based source of immune-boosting micronutrients and proteins. We have a considerable amount of science to back this up, and we're currently working on distribution deals. Just a snapshot of the company, we have the management, the intellectual property portfolio, the production technology, and the product development pipeline in hand. Biotech side of the business is really moving valuation in large increments. Agtech is focused on driving near-term revenue. So this is a deliberate strategy for growth, capital appreciation, and the de-risking of a pre-rev opportunity. Now, to set the table, I'm presenting a compendium here of diseases and health issues. Very serious, life-threatening. They affect humans and animals by the millions. What do they have in common? In one form or another, they involve the immune system of a human or animal, either combating an external invader, reacting to trauma or disease, or when the immune system turns on itself and begins attacking healthy organs and tissues. Now, the world's population is expected to exceed 8 billion here in a few years. We all know there is no shortage of infectious diseases. There are billion-dollar markets for antibiotics, autoimmune drugs, diabetes treatments. But what's interesting is the $37 billion spent on eubiotics, which is prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics. To us, this indicates a demand for non-drug alternatives or medicines developed from microbes to get healthy and stay that way. Now, billions more are spent on animals, livestock, and companion. I'd like to call your attention to U.S. sales of ionophores, which is a type of antibiotic for livestock. That's $4.3 billion annualized in 2018, U.S. only. Also, in that same chart, note tetracyclines, traditional antibiotics generating sales of $4 billion plus annually in the U.S. alone, despite intense consumer and regulatory pressure. So from that, we can presume the potential global market for antibiotic, antimicrobial alternatives could be massive. Now, poultry market is our first product candidate, licensing opportunity now on the table. Again, a huge need. Anything we can do to limit the use of antibiotics, antimicrobials, or toxic feed chemicals is an opportunity for growth. And we are currently in discussions with multinational partners, some of the biggest animal pharma and animal health companies in the world. Now, once licensed, we then move to swine, dairy, beef, cattle, companion animals, and eventually humans. So it's a two-faceted approach, biotech, agtech, sharing a common portfolio of intellectual property we've spent years developing. On the biotech side, our immune modulating candidates can potentially impact several billion-dollar market verticals in human and animal health. On the Agtech side, our patented and proprietary bioproducts derived from the unique Zivo algae strain can be used for dietary supplements, skin health products, functional food ingredients. We can promote a healthier gut microbiome in humans and animals. That's tied to a healthy immune response, the hottest trend in nutritional health. So no matter how many product categories or market verticals I present today, it's always from the singular perspective of immune health. So let's talk about that. On the biotech side, our novel immune modulator candidate targets what are called toll-like receptors that cover the outer surface of immune cells to enhance the way our immune system interacts with triggering events like a bacterial infection, a viral infection, trauma. And in some cases, our product candidates have been shown to calm down overreactive receptors like you would have with an autoimmune problem. And this is especially true in the gut, where extensive studies in animals have reported reduced inflammation, better food absorption, and a healthier intestinal lining. Agtech side of the business, the Zivo algal biomass, is a sustainable, non-GMO, all-natural, non-animal, non-dairy, antibiotic-free, hormone-free, herbicide-pesticide-free, vegan-based source of vitamins, autoimmune micronutrients, and proteins. Great potential as a new immune-boosting superfood or ingredient. We've successfully tested it for skin health applications, and we're launching it as a new functional food ingredient to enhance the gut microbiome. So with our GRAS designation, Zivo can sell biomass in the U.S. right now as we scale up production. Now, a little bit of history covering the past 6-7 quarters. In biotech, we announced a novel immune modulator in December of 2019 and presented that at the Animal Health and Investor Summit in London in February of 2020. That got us a lot of attention. Multiple patents were filed in 2020, and we began manufacturing development this past fall. Tied to that, we conducted 17 major poultry studies over the past 2 years to position us for licensing talks with global leaders in animal health. On the Agtech side of the business, we're actively outsourcing production of our proprietary algal strain to established, licensed agribusinesses outside the United States, and we continue to do natural product development as well so that we can broaden our distribution strategy. I'll briefly touch on the intellectual property portfolio behind all this. Currently, we hold 9 U.S. patents for biotech and Agtech applications. We have more than 35 patents pending, plus trademarks and trade secrets. And we expect the total number of patent filings, both U.S. and international, to exceed 200 over the next 18 to 22 months. Now, business models. The biotech business model follows a typical discovery stage deal or joint development agreement deal that's fairly commonplace in the animal health sector. Our goal is to individually license our product candidates for each application you see here, beginning with poultry on the left-hand side of the screen and working our way to the right side of the screen into human immune applications. This is an orderly process. One success helps underwrite the next success. So these two deal structures basically have pros and cons to them. A discovery stage deal allows us to license and monetize our poultry research in the near term, shift risk and capital investment to the larger pharma partners, and then allow us to go back to the lab and work on the next license. so we can stack the royalty streams. A joint development agreement would involve us all the way through to market launch, where we share risk with our deep-pocketed partners, but there's potentially higher cash flow to us and revenue sharing. So these are negotiated positions. We have a similar market vertical approach in Agtech. So the market verticals identified here represent speed-to-market applications that promise good margins while we continue to build our global production capacity. And these vertical business models are a mix of licensed distribution, where we can charge essentially a click fee for exclusive distribution rights, and joint ventures, where we team up with marketers and manufacturers to launch formulated products featuring Zivo algae. Now, the management team to deliver all this is what we think of well-balanced blend of business, finance, and science that work together to shape the strategy and its executions. And unlike most biotechs, Zivo virtualized its R&D a long time ago, spreading the work across universities, private labs, contract research organizations, yet retaining the IP associated with that research. Unlike many Agtech startups, this wasn't a high school experiment. Our goal going into it was economic viability through technical improvements in production, and then value building through product innovation to increase margins. Now, as stated, from a growth prospects perspective, we approach these biotech market verticals sequentially. We build on the success and cash flow of each previously launched market vertical to address the next one at a time. So we create value with our first poultry license, we move to the next. We've modeled our growth assumptions on comps and successful business cases, and each of these verticals represent seven-figure starting revenues that will continue to build over the years and stack on top of each other. Again, these verticals were selected and prioritized for capital efficiency, speed to market, optimal return on investment with an eye towards risk. We applied basically the same criteria to Agtech. So first to market is the vertical with the lowest CapEx, highest potential return, in this case, skin health anti-aging. And I'd like to point out that for the most part, we rely on larger, well-established brand names as strategic partners to fund compliance, brand the product, market, and distribute. This helps minimize market entry risk and ramp up the adoption curve. So moving forward, our goals for the rest of 2021 and the near future, very focused. We're looking to put a deal on the board with a poultry digestive product yet this year. The raise we just concluded will make that happen. So this is not a 5 or 6 years down the road proposition. We've already done that part. We are ready now to enter into a poultry licensing deal, close it by the end of this year or early next. And in most of these discovery stage deals, that revenue stream typically starts with an option exercise, which is then followed by a licensing advance, then a couple of milestone payments and single-digit royalties for the life of the patents, in this case, 20 years. Now, to give you some sense of how big this can get, the poultry gut health market, if you include all the antibiotics, antimicrobials, and chemicals for gut health, is about an $8 billion annual market. So even a relatively small percentage of that market share is still very significant. And each of the 5 applications that I've presented in the biotech slide represents its own revenue stream. So these start to stack up over time. Again, once poultry is signed, we move on to swine, dairy cows, pets, and then humans. Agtech side of the business, all about partnerships and distribution deals to leverage established sales channels and minimize market entry risk. And now that we've concluded this raise, and we've uplisted to NASDAQ, we can pull the trigger on production immediately and begin to enter into supply contracts. So we are also actively recruiting established agribusinesses as licensed contract growers, and we are building out our global supply chain to support our distributors. Thanks. That's pretty much all we've got. We're confident our approach is sound and our strategy is realistic. This recent capital raise is working as a catalyst for closing our first biotech license and our first major Agtech deal with some runway to put them on the board. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the Zivo Bioscience presentation. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect and have a great day.